You're sitting in a moment that matters. Something good just happened, something real. But instead of feeling it completely, there's a flickerer, split-second calculation running beneath the surface. Your mind is already composing the caption, already framing the angle, already deciding which version of this truth will translate best to a screen somewhere else. It happens so fast you barely notice, but it's there. A reflex you didn't have 10 years ago. A silent editor that rewrote the way you experience your own life. If any part of this feels familiar to you, you're not alone. And if you ever feel like sharing your experience, the comments are open. This is about what happens when approval stops being something you receive and becomes something you anticipate. When validation becomes a loop that runs before the moment even ends. When your internal experience starts performing for an audience that isn't even in the room yet. You mentally rewrite your experiences as they happen, thinking about how you would recount them later. You're standing in front of something beautiful, a sunset, a quiet street, a conversation that moved you, and somewhere in the back of your mind, a narrator clicks on. Not your voice, exactly something faster, sharper. It's drafting the story before you've even finished living it. The experience splits. One part of you is present. The other part is hovering above, writing captions, testing phrasing, editing out the messy parts. You haven't posted anything yet. You might never post it, but the impulse is already there, translating life into content before the moment cools. It's not vanity, it's not shallow, it's just the way your brain learns to process meaning, through the lens of how it will sound later, through the filter of how it will be received. The story becomes more vivid than the thing itself, and you don't always notice when the rewrite begins. Only that somewhere along the way, you stopped experiencing things once. You started experiencing them twice, once in real time, once in rehearsal. The second version always sounds better, but it's never quite as true. Before posting anything, have you ever imagined exactly who will react and how? You hover over the post button, but you're not reading what you wrote anymore. You're watching faces. Specific faces, people you haven't spoken to in years, people you see every day, people whose opinions shouldn't matter but somehow do. You're running simulations. She like it? He'll scroll past. That one will leave a comment, probably something clever, maybe something cold. You can see it all before it happens. Not because you're psychic, because you've mapped the audience so carefully that their reactions have become predictable. You know who validates what, who ignores what, who punishes what. It's a strange intimacy. You know these people's patterns better than their voices. You've studied how they respond to certain tones, certain topics, certain versions of you, and without realizing it, you've started writing for them. Not for yourself, not even for everyone, just for the handful of ghosts whose approval you're still chasing. The post goes live, and within seconds you're checking, not to see if people liked it, to see if the right people did, to confirm the simulation, to close the loop you opened in your head before you ever hit send. You feel a strange emptiness when something good happens and no one else sees it. Something good happens when you're alone, a small victory, a quiet breakthrough, a moment of clarity that shifts something inside you, and for a second it feels whole. Then the emptiness arrives, not sadness exactly, just a strange incompleteness, like the moment is waiting for something. It's waiting for witnesses, not because you need praise, but because somewhere along the way your brain started treating experiences like drafts, real only when they're seen, valid only when they're acknowledged. The private moment sits there, unfinished, like a story with no audience. You tell yourself it still counts, that it happened whether anyone knows or not. But there's a tension now, a gap between what you felt and what feels real. The good thing is true, but it doesn't quite land. It hovers. waiting for the second beat, the external confirmation that never comes. And you start to notice a pattern. The things that happen in silence feel lighter, less solid, as if your internal experience lost its weight, as if joy became something that only completes itself when it's reflected back to you from a screen. His memory began to file moments away as drinkable or not drinkable. You're living through something and there's a sorting happening, automatic, unconscious. Your mind isn't just recording the experience, it's filing it, categorizing it. Some moments get flagged. Others get dismissed, not based on how they feel, based on how they'll translate. The post-eval moments have a certain quality. They're clean. They have a hook. They fit a narrative people already understand. De não postável moments arimessi, too specific, too hard to explain in a caption, so they get stored differently, lighter, less detailed. As if your brain decided they matter less because they won't perform well. You don't make this decision consciously, but when you look back at your year, your month, your week, the memories that survived are the ones you shared, the ones you posted, the ones that got validated, the private moments blurred, not because they weren't meaningful, but because they never entered the public record. And slowly, without noticing, your autobiography rewrote itself, not based on what happened, based on what you could prove happened. Your life became the version other people saw. Everything else faded into static, real but not quite remembered, there but not quite saved. You mentally rehearse responses to comments you haven't even received yet. You post something and immediately the theater opens. In your mind, the comments section is already filling up. You're writing responses to questions no one has asked yet, defending points no one has challenged, clarifying things that aren't even confusing. The conversation is happening entirely inside your head. Someone will say this, you'll respond with that. Someone else will misunderstand. You'll correct them gently or sharply, depending on the tone you imagine they'll use. You're having full arguments with ghosts, rehearsing wit, preparing armor, building counterpoints to criticisms that don't exist yet. It's exhausting, but you can't stop because the post isn't finished when it goes live. It's finished when the reaction cycle completes. And since you can't control what people say, you control the script in your head. You write both sides. You win every exchange before it starts. Then the real comments come, and they're never quite what you imagined. Someone says something kind you didn't prepare for. Someone ignores the thing you thought would cause drama. The mental script you spent an hour perfecting goes unused. But by then, you're already rehearsing the next post, the next defense, the next imaginary conversation that feels more real than the actual ones. The version of the story you lived and the version you told online have become two different things. Here's what happened, and then there's what you said happened. At first, the gap was small, just editing out the boring parts, tightening the narrative, making it clearer. But somewhere along the way, the edited version became the one you remember. The polished story replaced the messy original. You told it so many times online, in comments, in follow-up posts that your brain started saving the performance instead of the experience. The real moment had hesitation to confusion. The posted version had clarity, a punchline, a lesson. And because that version got validated, got likes, got shared, it became the official record. Now, when you think back, you're not sure which version is true. Did you really feel that confident in the moment? Or did you add that later? Was it really that funny? Or did you sharpen it for the caption? The memory has two layers now. The original, fading, the edit, bright and reinforced every time someone brings it up. And the strangest part is you're not lying. You're not trying to deceive anyone. You just lived the same experience twice. Once in real time, once in translation. And the translation was so much cleaner, so much more complete. that it overwrote the original file. What you lived became what you said you lived, and you can't quite get back to the version before the rewrite. You feel a physical urge to check if anyone has reacted, even though you posted 3 minutes ago. You just posted. You know it's too soon. Logically, you understand that no one has even seen it yet, but your hand moves anyway. Refresh, check, swipe down. The urge isn't rational. It's physical. A pressure building in your chest that only releases when you look. 3 minutes is nothing, but it feels like waiting in silence for a verdict. The post is out there, floating, unconfirmed. Schrödinger's content both successful and ignored until you collapse the wave by checking. And until you check, you can't settle, can't focus, can't move on to the next thing. It's not about the number. Not really. It's about the loop closing. You sent something out into the void, and now you need proof it landed, that it registered, that you still exist in the way you think you do. The likes aren't vanity, they're confirmation, evidence that the signal went through, that you're still visible. And the worst part is knowing it's irrational doesn't stop it. You refresh again. Still nothing for minutes now. You tell yourself to wait, to be patient, to let it breathe, but the itch is there, persistent, a low hum of anxiety that only the notification can quiet. So you check one more time, just once, just to see. Experiences alone seem incomplete, as if they need digital witnesses to be real. You're somewhere beautiful, somewhere you wanted to be. You got here on your own. No one knows you're here. And instead of peace, there's a low-grade discomfort. Not loneliness exactly, more like the feeling of watching a movie with no one to turn to when something important happens. The moment is good, but it's floating, untethered, like it's happening in a dimension that doesn't quite count because it's not being recorded, not being shared, not being seen. You take a photo not to post, just to prove it happened, but even the photo feels hollow. A tree falling in an empty forest. You start narrating it to yourself, imagining how you'd describe this later, what you'd say, how you'd frame it, as if practicing the retelling gives it more substance than the actual experience, as if the story is more real than the thing itself. The witness is missing, and without them, the moment doesn't fully crystallize, and you realize something unsettling. You're not sure you know how to be alone anymore. Not really alone. Not without even in solitude performing, observing yourself from outside, waiting for the moment to count, for it to become something more than just you by yourself, feeling something no one else will ever confirm. Have you ever edited your original opinion about something after seeing how people reacted to the first version? You said something. You meant it when you said it. It felt true. But then the responses came in, not the ones you expected, not the validation, something else. Confusion, disagreement, silence, and suddenly what you thought you believed starts to wobble. You go back and read what you wrote. It still makes sense, but now there's static around it, doubt creeping in from the edges. Maybe you were too harsh, maybe you missed something, maybe the way you phrased it made it sound different than what you actually think. You start revising not the post, but the belief itself. The new version forms quickly, softer, more palatable, closer to what people seem to expect. And the strange thing is, it doesn't feel like lying. It feels like a correction, like you were off before and the crowd pulled you back to center. You tell yourself you evolved, reconsidered, grew. But later, in private moments, the original thought resurfaces, the one you had before the post, before the reactions, and you realize it's still there. You didn't change your mind. You just learned which version of your mind is allowed to be public. The rest stays inside, unposted, unvalidated, real, but not real enough to survive contact with an audience. Digital silence has become more painful than real silence. You can sit in a quiet room and feel fine. No noise, no conversation, just stillness. But open your phone to silence, no notifications, no messages, no reactions, and suddenly the quiet has weight. It presses down. It means something. It's not just absence. It's rejection wearing an absence as a mask. Real silence is neutral. Digital silence is a verdict. It tells you that you existed today and no one noticed, that you sent signals out and nothing came back. The empty notification screen isn't peace, it's evidence. Proof that you're drifting outside the network, that the connections you thought were solid are actually conditional, active only when you perform. You refresh again. Still nothing. The silence gets louder. You start questioning. Did you say something wrong? Post at the wrong time? Fade from relevance without noticing. The anxiety isn't about missing out. It's about confirmation that you're still included, still part of the conversation, still visible in a world that only sees what it validates. And the strangest cruelty is this: real presence doesn't fix it. You could be surrounded by people and still feel that ache, because the silence that hurts isn't the one in the room. It's the one on the screen, the one that tells you that somewhere, in the only place that seems to count anymore, you're standing alone, speaking into a void that used to speak back. You didn't choose this. You didn't wake up one day and decide to rebuild your mind around approval. It happened slowly, quietly, one post at a time, one like at a time, until the loop became automatic, until validation stopped being something you wanted and became something you needed to feel real. But here's the thing about loops: they're not permanent, they're patterns. And patterns can be interrupted, not by deleting everything, not by disappearing, just by noticing, by catching yourself in the split second before the rewrite begins, before the experience becomes a caption, before the moment turns into a performance. You're not broken, you're not shallow, you're not lost. You're just wired into a system that rewards you for turning inward experiences into outward content, for translating feeling into metrics, for making your internal world legible to an audience that was never supposed to be in the room. The approval will always be there. The loop will always hum in the background, but you don't have to live inside it. You can notice it, name it, let it run without letting it decide what's real. Some moments can just be yours, unposted, unwitnessed, unvalidated, and still completely, undeniably true. If this resonated, there's more where this came from. Subscribe to keep exploring the quiet mechanics of being human.